Oh, my blue screen is not,
You
I don't have it turned on blue screen, but it's all going blobby. It's all blobby
your aura
around me.
today.
It's all weird. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, hi, Leslie. How are you?
I'm great, Mark. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Excellent to see you in that aura of energy. Yeah.
You know what? I can hear voices echoing. Everything's going wrong now that we're actually live.
Of
So
course.
I'm gonna just
Are those the normal voices you hear or new ones? I can hear you. Ah, I can hear you. No. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. No, I can't hear you.
How's that?
Ta-da!
Fantastic.
It
Yeah.
was just me saying bad things about you.
Tech problems. Okay. What are you gonna do? Okay. So yeah, figured it out. Figured it out finally.
It's Friday, people.
So
It's Friday.
Leslie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect. And I can hear so many things going on. Is it just my voice you can hear or other things going on as well?
Just you, not the voices in your head.
Okay, good. I need to drink more of this beer, I think. That's what it is.
What are you drinking?
So I'm hearing like echoes of everything I've heard. And I think I know what it is. I think I might have another tab open.
Ah.
So let me just get rid of this one. I'm gonna turn down hopefully solve it. Okay, there we go. Ah, I killed them. I think I killed the voices. All right, so we are here. Without further ado, we are going to be speaking to Keri Safran, who is not only an actor and a dialect coach, but she is also the captain of the SAG-AFTRA. SAG-AFTRA. I think it's the strike committee, right? So I'm just gonna bring Keri in right now and say, hello, Keri, can you hear us okay? Or are you hearing the voices as well?
I'm hearing so much reverb, so maybe when one of us is talking, we should mute.
Yeah. Let's try that. I'll go.
So maybe when one of us is talking,
you know what? Yeah. I'm going to turn down that speaker there. And hopefully that has solved it. Oh my God. This is ridiculous. Okay. Oh, that has I think I've got it. Oh it's all my problem. It's my fault. Okay, here we go. Okay. Back to normal now. It's all my problem. I'm just gonna sit here and okay, here we go. It's not. It's still fucking up. Normal now. It's all my problem. I'm just gonna sit here and you know what? It's not. It's still fucking up. I can just keep here. I just keep hearing my own voice. You know what? It's not. It's still over and over. This wasn't. Why was this not happening before in the rehearsal? Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to take myself out of the equation and see if that solves it. Leslie, turn on. I'm going to turn on your speaker and also I'm going to unmute Keri. And I'm going to move myself and see if that solves it.
He left and the problems went away.
Wow.
I hate to break his heart, but you know.
Not to make a snarky comment about that's usually what happens when the men finally leave. No,
when the men go, everything's fine.
I love the men folk.
Thank you for being with us today. We'll figure out the problems or let Rob, hello, that's the guy in my house. Let Mark figure out the problems. Thanks for being with us. I know you've got limited time. So let's dive right in.
Hi.
Tell me the big news today of the ending of the strike. As a strike captain, what does this mean to you in your world?
Yeah, so we actually got the big news Wednesday evening, and it's been a real roller coaster since then to know that showing up day after day in 90-degree weather, just being there, and with my fellow strike captains and the regular picketers, or even the people who just could come for 1 hour because they have other responsibilities and or who could just post, and all of those efforts really led to the benefit of so many people. That is so important, and for me it's really heartening, especially with what our world has been looking like in the past few weeks specifically has been very, very brutal. And to see that like something good happened, you know, the people who have been being exploited came out with a contract that is fair. You know, we won, you know.
That's awesome.
We didn't get everything, but I think we got a lot. So right now I'm having a little bit of FOMO because SAG is doing their live stream right now, telling us more of the details of the contract. So
thank you. We're gonna get you in and out. Yeah, thank you. That was what was on my mind. I said today earlier because that was what was on my mind. Yeah, absolutely. Well, congrats. We raise a glass because that's a lot of hard work, and we celebrate with you. So back to a lot of things, back to a lot of activity starting right away. Look who's here.
Oh my God. Is there feedback? Is there crazy feedback happening? We might be.
It might be good.
Hi, Mark.
So does that leave, you know, I mean, you said you got a lot of what you were hoping for, not everything. I mean, you know, that's how these things go. Sometimes you gotta leave a little bit. So does that mean, and you don't have to go into details, I know you don't have a lot of time, but what is left to be done? Do you feel like there's still big issues still remaining that are gonna?
I think that the weight really had to be thrown behind the efforts for securing protections against being replaced by AI. And the other things that kind of fell by the wayside are still very important things that affect a lot of people. And I can talk about what one of those is in a moment. But that's the one that without that, we don't have an industry anymore. We just become video games. And so unless you work in computers, bye-bye gaffers, bye-bye makeup artists, bye-bye boom operators, bye-bye everybody who has to report to set.
Right.
So that's the thing that I really hope people keep in mind is that this strike, you know, anytime anybody tried to spin the story of like, oh, actors, just settle. Like, why are you dragging this out? And it's like, y'all, now is the time. If we don't do this now, we don't have an industry anymore. And that affects all of you. Yeah. So we all knew that every single day. Yeah. And we're very, very passionate about it. So it was really important to secure that. And then, you know, a couple of things that I wish I made a couple of little videos about this. Right now with self-tapes, we have less and less information about the projects we're auditioning for. And what's happening is that the person who makes the best guess is the person who gets the role. And that's not equal job opportunity.
Right.
You know, things happen like the person with the fanciest agent gets the whole script, but the person with the less fancy agent just gets their scene with the 3 lines, and you have no idea which puzzle piece you are. So there was this one provision that listed, you know, at the time of the audition, you have to tell us the genre, the time period, the accent.
Yes.
And they didn't want to agree to it. They didn't want to agree to a story. They would just tell us who we're playing.
Yeah.
So that's bananas. But when you're, you know, fighting a battle, you gotta, the number one most important thing really had to become AI, and then, you know, rates for background and for residuals from streaming. You know, there were things that really needed to be addressed. So
yeah, it's a huge issue, and a lot of people think about it in their industry. Of course, you know, AI is on everyone's minds, but you know, I don't know that unless you're in this industry, you really have an idea of just how much is on the other side of that screen that we watch when it's all over and done, but there are human lives and careers and livelihoods on the other side that are just as much affected as any other industry, if not more.
100%. And also knowing that this was kind of a microcosm. This was emblematic of something that's gone really wrong in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not brand new, but it's really become legal that the people at the top hoard everything for themselves and nickel and dime the people at the bottom, the working class people.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's always been the way that.
It has always been the way, but there was a time when laws protected against that. Like in Japan, I think the head of the company can only make like certain times the amount of the lowest worker. And we used to have in the United States, at least, some laws along those lines, but great is good in the 80s, those went away. And that needs to change because the society is not sustainable where only 1% have money to spend and everybody else is working 3-4 jobs, and most of us on the line have a lot of jobs.
Yeah,
I think I've got 5. I've counted.
Yeah. And they're all entertainment.
Well, thankfully, this is not one of them. Otherwise, I'd fire myself.
Not a techie.
Yeah. Well, AI has maybe it could be a potential danger for, you tossed out accents a minute ago. I mean, let's go there. And Mark, I think you might have had a specific question on this. Actually, I don't want to step on your question there, so toss it out. Technology.
Yeah. So, my question is, what do you think are some of the threats that actors face from emerging technology? I mean, apart from, you touched on AI a little bit as well, but I've heard about a lot of voice actors are really concerned about what's already happening now.
Yeah, so I think at the moment, I think this feels like more of a threat to those humans. I coach a lot of people on impressions, and a lot of my clients do voice matching. So if there's a character, I obviously can't say explicitly, but if there's a character from a very famous franchise, and then there's going to be something like a video game or a ride at a park or something, and they want that voice, that's work. That's work for the working class actor who has that skill of voice matching. Let's say, this is just a friend of mine, not a client, Tina Fey wasn't available to do ADR. So she came in and did Tina Fey's voice for a film for like a couple little snippets here and there.
Yeah.
That's work for the working class human. But if they scan everybody's voice and likeness, they don't need to find people who can voice match.
Yeah.
They just don't need it. They don't need us. They scan that person once, and then how many cut?
Yeah. They got your voice, they got your likeness, they can just bring it in, and
which is scary for other reasons.
Oh, it's very scary. I mean, it's scary in terms of, it's so important that protections are put in place for every industry. We can't even begin to fathom how this is going to affect criminal justice. You see a video of somebody committing a crime. Did you? You see a video of a politician doing something. Is that, or making a phone call used in evidence? Is that real? Yeah. This is terrifying. Like, if we don't start to secure some level of protection right now and really stay with technology for this has implications we can't imagine yet.
And I think at the pace of change too with technology, it's almost the next thing I'm thinking is in 2 more years, we got to be back at the table again talking about the next round of protections, because we can't write down everything now that could be a danger in 2 years, right? It's just so impossible to keep up with, but to at least cement that there is such a culture of creating protections, that there's a mechanism for doing that there's an agreed, spirit of doing that is foundational, right?
Yeah, I mean, they called it historical, the AMPTP, that they offered to pay a background actor for half a day's work and scan them. Look, we offered that. That's historical. Then they would never work again.
Wow.
We would say, oh, well, It's better than nothing. We'll take it. How dare they? And I think they really underestimated how committed we were. We would have stayed out there till January. We would have.
Wasn't somebody quoted as saying something like, okay, well, we'll just keep this strike going until, you know, they run out of money to buy themselves food or something.
We were like, y'all, we're used to eating ramen noodles. And also, hey,
yeah, it's like the last person you're gonna ask, the last person you're gonna like fight against to say that, okay, we'll starve them out is an actor. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, bring it on, dude.
We have free snacks at every picket. We're good. And secondly, how dare they say something like that? And third, that was probably just a plant to try to scare us. And screw y'all. Just screw y'all.
Mind games.
Yeah.
Mind games. And really sick, crazy stuff. My dad is actually, so we're a SAG family, and my dad does background, and he was working on Maestro, the Bradley Cooper fake nose to play a Jewish man, Leonard Bernstein. And very angry. The Jewess is very angry about that. They brought him on. He showed up to Carnegie Hall, and they lined him up along all the other background actors. And then one by one, they went into this bizarre, like futuristic room where they scanned all of them. And they didn't really have a choice. He's like, I have no idea if I signed anything. I don't know what happened. I can't even. You didn't really have a choice. Otherwise, it would have been like, go home then. You can't work today.
Oh, that's so scary.
It's terrifying. Now, fortunately, we're going to find out today if this retroactively protects him and his colleagues. SAG is also, I don't know if I didn't get to watch the whole clip of Clark Gregg. I think he was speaking in front of Congress. But I know that in 30 states right now, it's illegal for you to sign away your own likeness without your own counsel present. And one other thing that I'm forgetting. And so I think the idea is to make that a federal protection.
Yeah.
So that even if you get duped,
stand. Yeah.
It's you don't have the right to sign away your own likeness without those two things present.
Wow.
So
we mentioned, or you mentioned accents earlier, and I know you're a dialect coach, accent coach, and since we're talking about technology for other things, there's a lot of good source material out there. There are a lot of good apps, a lot of good things for actors who want to grab an accent quickly. With all that advancing technology, I mean, how is that, or is that squeezing out the accent coach, the dialect coach? I mean, what do you see as possible dangers? Or
I really don't.
Excellent. Talk about that.
Because I can watch as many videos of somebody playing tennis or painting a beautiful painting as I like. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I need someone to show me what to do. Now, I may have a natural aptitude if I'm lucky, but even then, any child who had natural aptitude for gymnastics had to train.
I need a coach. Yeah.
So even, and I'm sure y'all experience this, even the humans in my life who have great ears, who have a wonderful ear, I frequently find are the people who have the most blind spots. Because they take for granted their ability to mimic, there are things that they don't clock because they're not looking at it through a certain lens.
That's
the kind of lens that we all look through it. What are the, really, we have a system for breaking these things.
That's right.
And
plus the sustainability of it. I mean, and by sustainability, I mean throughout the length of time that someone is filming or whatever the work period is. I mean, that mimicry, maybe it can get you through an hour or even a really long day, at some point, under certain conditions, you got to think that's going to break down, right? So without the handholds that the coaching provides you, and more than handholds, I mean, it's the framework and the basis. And
there's something I saw on Instagram, and I think I'm following them, but it's like this thing where you basically you just send them your script, and I know that a lot of dialect coaches will do this where and I've done it before, where somebody said, oh, can you just record these lines and to send me the recording? It's like, okay, fine, but like you've done some coaching with them, and you can trust them to get what they need from it. But there's this thing where I think it's an app where you just like send in your lines, and they will record them for you in the accent, the target accent. But the way they're marketing it is like, why pay the money on dialect coaches? Why spend all that money on a dialect coach when you can send us your script and we'll get someone to read out your script in an accent and send it to you, and you just copy it?
Yeah, and what happens when you show up to set and they're like, we've got new sides this morning? Or when you did the audition, they're like, that was great. Can you actually read it for this other character? What are you going to do?
Yeah. Adaptability, sustainability, right? Yeah.
Because my goal, I always say to people, my goal is to have you not need me. If I can get my actors like they're mine, if I can get folks to understand what we do and understand the system that we use to break stuff down so that they can do that for themselves, that's wonderful. So I don't want to record just dialogue for people. I want people to have the skill. I want people to be able to embody it. I want people to be able to act and make their own choices. So for me, if you're lucky, that might get you through something, but
we'll get you through your 3 lines for, like your bit part, maybe. And if you're going to get something where it's like a role that lasts for more than 15 seconds, you're going to need to be able to embody that, and you're going to need to show that you've come to that audition, or if you even get the part, that you're there and you're ready to go, and that you're, like you say, you were talking about like making those choices. So you're making acting choices. You don't want to be kind of like in your head trying to figure out, oh, now how do I say this word? What sound do I have? Like, what do I mimic? Like, you want to have that automaticity where you don't even have to think about it anymore. Instead, you're thinking about what choices you're going to make for that particular take. To
yeah, and that's what we all do. We provide those ways to anchor yourself, what to do, when you're on set, what to do in the waiting room of an audition room, what to do when they get up inside. Like, that's what we do. We help people to do that. So I don't see that going away. The only thing I could imagine something weird happening with is I don't know how this would work, but if they ran our own voices through a filter that made it sound like a certain accent, which probably already exists or will.
It does exist. I've seen it. It is out there.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is because I'm going to have to edit this anyway. I'm going to tag it onto the end. And
you put us all into some accents.
Put a link to it. Yeah. Basically, all you do is you just, and they have it where somebody's talking normally, and what they do is with AI, you can get it to alter the mouth movements, the vocal posture and everything. It's still got the voice, but it puts it into a different language. Not just a different accent, but a different language. And it is scary.
That's frightening.
It is. And I know that stuff is only going to improve. I think we all know right now Google Translate is only kind of half the way there. But it will improve.
Yeah.
That's, though, even once let's say I'm actually filming a movie, a live action movie, and my character was supposed to have XYZ accent. And they're like, oh, we get to the point where they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll run it through a filter after. And yeah, what's my mouth going to look like?
Yeah.
What's my face going to be doing? What's my musicality going to be? And is it going to match what I'm expressing visually? Like, I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Keri, we know you're short on time. Anything exciting coming up for you that you want to share?
I do, because I haven't been allowed to talk about anything. Because, we weren't allowed to talk about strong work. So about a week and a half ago, my Hallmark Christmas movie aired. So I'm only in it in the very beginning. It's called Mystic Christmas. I play a Dutch marine biologist. We'll see if I overdid my accent. I might have. We're going to learn from it. But I'm excited to see it. I had a fabulous time shooting it, actually in Mystic, Connecticut, which is a gorgeous
city. Nice.
And then I did get to shoot a film. That was one of these SAG interim agreements about a month ago. I was so lucky, and that's with Shea Wiggum and Keri. And so it's crossed for good things with that. So, yay!
Yay! We can talk about things now. Yay! Good. Well, awesome. Congrats.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being with us. I know it's a busy time for you. We really value your time. So go hear all of the things and do all the celebrating.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy yourself, Keri. And thanks for being out there and representing people out there on the front line as well, and being a voice for people. It's really the work that you do is really important. So and I'm sure is appreciated by a lot of people too. So
yeah. I'll show you this picture. This is I think this makes me officially an Australian, because this was the homepage of ABC.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a great shot. Yeah.
As Australians, I'll ever get. All right.
Actually, we can also see from that. Yeah, I can see from that you've depilated as well.
I shaved my armpit.
You're not that that's something that is expected, but it's obvious from the photograph that is something that happened. Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much, Keri, for coming in and talking to us. It was
my pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Ciao. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
That was great.